Starlets, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. We're bringing a little bit of glamour to everyday life. If you want to join my Starlet squad, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Today we're talking about drugstore lipsticks. If you're not familiar with how my makeup collection videos work, basically I take a different makeup product, in this case drugstore lipsticks. I test a different one each day for however many days I have the product. I show you applying it, giving a first impression, and then I give you an update later on in the day to see how I liked it after wearing it for an entire day. And at the end of the video, I give you my A list and D list, so be sure you stay tuned for that. I'm actually going to go through my entire lipstick collection. I'm going to go not every color, but I'm going to do every different formula. But because I have so many lipsticks, because I'm a bit of a lipstick junkie, people, I really am. And I have an obscene number of red lipsticks too. But I decided to split them up, so in this video I'm just going to focus on drugstore brand lipsticks. I'm going to do a separate video for other lipsticks. I think I'm going to do probably my MAC collection because I have a lot of different MAC ones, and then I'm going to probably do like a high-end, and then I'm going to do a luxury because I have a few that are like expensive. So if you want to see my drugstore lipstick collection and which ones worked and which ones didn't, then just keep watching. Okay, so my first drugstore lipstick for you, and I'm not going to do anything underneath it, like no lip line or anything. I'm just going to try to do the lipstick by itself. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick, which they're legendary. I mean, I feel like these have been around forever. This is in a cream formula, and it is in the shade Cherries in the Snow. I actually used to like sneak this in high school, and I used to sneak, I don't remember if it was this shade, but it was one of their red shades to school. My mother didn't want me wearing red lipstick when I was like in, like, I'd say junior high, because she's just like, no, red lipstick's too much. And so I would like sneak a red lipstick in my purse and like put it on in the girls' room, and I would put on way too much, so it would be like, what happened to your lips? Fun fact about me. I'm gonna blot and then reapply. The Revlon lipsticks are legendary for a reason. They're so pigmented, they go on so smooth and so creamy. I love them. I have a feeling, especially because this is a cream formula, I have a feeling it's gonna be messier than what I'm used to because I'm so used to like liquid lipsticks and matte formulas. This might take a little getting used to, but I love this color. I love the feeling of putting it on, and I do feel like the Revlon lipsticks are just, they're iconic. So, especially this Cherries in the Snow. So, I'm actually going to update you a little bit later and let you know how this is holding up. Okay, lipstick update. Here's the thing about this lipstick that's freaking me out. I had a smoothie, I had tea, and I had a salad with oily dressing. And the whole time, like, my tea mug was like covered in lipstick, like my glass, my fork, like everything was just covered in lipstick. I was totally convinced I was gonna get up, look in the mirror, and I'd have no lipstick on. And it's simply faded, like, but it's faded so evenly, and it's still really pigmented. It feels a little bit dry. It's not completely matte, but it has dried a little bit, which is probably why it's so long lasting. But I have to say, for a drugstore formula, I think it's the reason why Revlon lipsticks are so iconic, is because they're good. I mean, this is a really good lipstick. I mean, I don't know if the lighter colors would hold up quite as well as a darker color, because deeper reds do tend to stick around longer, but I am really impressed with how long this lasted. I mean, it's messy. It's definitely not kiss proof. It's not transfer proof at all. As far as lasting power goes, it's pretty darn good. Okay, so today's lipstick is another Revlon, and this is the Revlon Super Lustrous Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick, but this is in a pearl, and I've actually never tried this one before. It came highly recommended online when I was searching for like red lipsticks. It's the shade Cherry Blossom, and this is a pearl version. I was so into like their pearl frosted lipsticks when I was like a teenager. These go on so nice and smooth and creamy. They feel luxurious when you apply them, and they're, for drugstore, they're like amazing. I do feel like this feels softer and creamier than yesterday's, even though yesterday's was a cream. This is a pearl, but I mean, you really have to kind of look closely at it in order to really see any iridescence. So if you're looking for like a really frosted lipstick, this is not it, and it's not going to be metallic. It just has like a little bit more dimension. It reflects the light a little bit to give it a little bit more dimension. But I think it's nice because it really does kind of emphasize the center of the lips and make it look a little poutier. Shade's really pretty too. So I'll check in a little bit later and let you know how it's holding up. This actually, I put this through a lot today. It's been like a really long day, a really long night. I don't think that this stayed quite as pigmented as yesterday's with the cream formula, but it's definitely lasted longer than I expected it to. It's still messy, like it's not transfer proof or kiss proof. It definitely gets on a lot of things, but I'm really impressed with how well it held up and how it didn't smear on my face at all. It just kind of like faded, and it faded pretty evenly. A little bit patchier than yesterday though, so I feel like I like the cream formulation a little bit better. I do like the dimension the pearl gives you, but I think I like the cream formulation better. I feel like Revlon lipsticks, like, they're iconic and they've been around forever, but they don't get the like credit that they deserve, because like I've forgotten how good these actually can be. Okay, so today's lipstick is the Wet n Wild. I can't read the name of the lipstick, but this is actually in the shade Stoplight Red. Very affordable from the drugstore. I actually heard this was one of Dita Von Teese's favorite drugstore brands. She's usually very into high-end, and she's one of my style icons, so I had to try this out. A little different shape than usual for a lipstick. It's feeling very stiff. Like, it doesn't apply as smoothly as the Revlon. I don't know if I like the shape as much. It feels a little awkward. It feels stiffer, but it's probably more of a matte, so. Very pigmented though. Doesn't apply quite as smoothly as I'd like. It's very affordable, very matte, like the color. Feels very matte. Doesn't feel bad though, doesn't feel heavy, but it applies very stiffly. I'm gonna wear this throughout the day and see how it holds up. I just noticed this. This lipstick actually, it surprised me. This is like after eating tacos. I went to the movies, I had a snack, and I was drinking through a straw and stuff, and it held up really well. Felt a little drying, but it held up pretty well, I'd say, pigment wise. And the fact that it did even this well eating tacos, I mean, it's not transfer proof at all. I didn't notice it getting on things like my water bottle and stuff as much as some of the others, but if this is all it does going through tacos, it's actually pretty impressive. And for something that's affordable, like, I don't know if it's my favorite because it did feel a little bit drying, but it is a matte formula. But I gotta say, it's better than I expected. Okay, so today's lipstick is the Maybelline Color Sensational in On Fire Red. I believe this is another like Dita Von Teese inspired drugstore lip purchase. I don't really think I've tried Maybelline lipsticks. Let's see. Okay, this started going on like not very pigmented, but it did kind of soften up. Feels very glossy. Okay, when you blot it, a lot of it comes off. This is like almost like a gloss in a lipstick form, I feel like. Interesting. It's nice, but I mean, I feel like you really have to blot it or else it's gonna get really messy. This feels kind of more like a glossy type formula for a lipstick, and I mean, it goes on somewhat pigmented if you really kind of build it, but once you blot it, it really fades. Like, it's not sheer, but it's almost sheer. I don't know how I feel about this just yet, but I'm gonna wear this today, see how it feels, see how it holds up. I actually, you can still see some of it. First time I ate today, literally, it was just all over my chin and I had to kind of wipe it off. This just did not hold up. And I mean, you know, what I ate today was somewhat messy, but I ate tacos yesterday and the lipstick held up better. So I don't know, I feel like, I mean, yes, it was a glossier formula. Definitely wasn't as pigmented. I just feel like, you know, the Revlon creams were so comfortable on the lips. They were so pigmented and they seem to have so much more staying power that this one just isn't impressing me. I mean, it's not bad if you want like a glossier lipstick, but I'm not really a glossier lipstick kind of person. And I want something that's gonna last longer. It's not gonna be one of my favorites. Okay, so today's lipstick is actually another Maybelline. I actually wasn't sure how these were different. They're just listed differently on Ulta. So I went and checked, and the one that I tested in the last one, the On Fire Red, I think it's called. This is one of their Vivids. It's the Color Sensational, but it's in their Vivids collection. It's supposed to be creamier, and it's supposed to be more, I think, pigmented and intense. And I didn't find this very pigmented or very intense. It was creamy though, so I decided to try this other one, which I believe is just their regular Color Sensational, and this is in Red Revival. It is another Dita Von Teese inspired purchase. This is going on, I think, a little bit more like a regular lipstick. This still fade a lot when it gets blotted though, but I do think this is more pigmented than the other one, which is weird. I get more control with this one. This is definitely more pigmented than the other Maybelline, which is weird because the other one's the Vivid. But the other one's supposed to be creamier, so maybe this one will last a little bit longer because it's not supposed to be as creamy a formula. I do like the color. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel matte. but it doesn't necessarily feel like a glossy formula. It's definitely a creamier formula. It doesn't feel matte at all, but it doesn't feel heavy. It feels nice. I'm gonna wear this throughout the day. Check in with you guys later. It's faded, but it's definitely lasted longer than the other Maybelline. So the Vivids is just really creamy, almost like a glossy kind of formula, and doesn't last. It's very messy. This one, I mean, it's still there. And I mean, I've eaten salad and stuff, and I had a smoothie and tea, and I mean, it's still definitely there. It's faded. I don't think it has the staying power of, say, the Revlon. Definitely better, though, than the Vivids, but for me, it's just kind of, it's good. I don't know if it's gonna be a favorite, though. Okay, so today's drugstore lipstick is from Rimmel. It is the one and only lipstick, and I believe the shade is called Best of the Best. It's 510. I'm guessing that's the name of the shade. I don't remember when or where or why I purchased this, but I've got it. It somehow ended up, I'm pretty sure I purchased this. I don't think it was ever gifted to me, but I don't know. I ended up with it somehow. This is actually more of like a flat top. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I don't think obviously never used this before because it has no wear on it. So yeah, I tend to like a more traditional lipstick shape though. Really subtle smell to it, but it's nice. I don't like the shape of this quite as much. It's pretty pigmented though, very creamy. It's a creamy formula, but the shape of it makes it a little difficult to like apply. I mean, I normally would probably wear a lip liner or something like this, but I just wanted to test the formula by itself. It doesn't feel drying. It feels creamy, but not too glossy. So we'll just have to see how this holds up throughout the day. This has held up pretty well, I have to say. It's still there, and I had a salad with oily dressing, and I had like a protein bar and tea and water and stuff. It feels kind of drying, even though it's not like fully matte. I don't know, it feels kind of drying, and I also, like, I felt like it was on my lips, like it feels a little heavy. I'm not in love with the way it feels. It wasn't super messy while I was eating, but I don't know if I'm in love with it, and I don't like the way it applied. I don't know if this is gonna be a favorite. Okay, so today's lipstick is Pixi Beauty. It's the Mattelustre lipstick in Classic Red. This was sent to me, I believe, over the holidays, and I think I've used this in a tutorial before. And I remember when I used it thinking that it was a little bit too creamy. It didn't last very long, but I'm gonna try it again and see how I like it. It does feel nice going on, like it feels nice and creamy, but it's not very pigmented. Yeah, I feel like this is very sheer. Yeah, I like my reds to be a lot more pigmented than this. So this is a little underwhelming. It does feel creamy. It feels nice so far, so I'll wear this throughout the day and see how it holds up. I will admit I haven't put this through as much abuse today as some of my other lipsticks, but it's faded a lot, and it wasn't that pigmented to begin with. It's faded relatively evenly. My lips are feeling a little dry. I don't know, I mean, it's just, for me, like in a red lipstick, it's just not, like, it's not as pigmented, it's not like popping like I'd like it to, but probably because of that, it faded more evenly. I'm not blown away by it. Okay, so I have one more drugstore lipstick. I actually picked this one up last minute, actually at the grocery store, and I was a little afraid because I feel like my grocery store's makeup section is kind of like lost and abandoned, so I was afraid this might not even be a color that's still available, but I found it on Ulta. So it's another Revlon, but it's one of their mattes, and I feel like they don't do a lot of mattes, which I find kind of surprising is what it is. I feel like they're mostly focused on their creams, and they do have a lot of pearls. But this one is, again, the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick. It's a matte formula, and this is in the shade Stormy Pink. They only had like 2 matte options in the store. I think there are more, like if you go online, but in the store they only had 2 matte options, and this looked like it'd be a more flattering shade on me than the other ones. So, since I like the cream so much, I figured maybe a matte might even be even better. You never know. I guess on camera it looks more intense. Looking at it in my mirror, like comparing it to what's in the tube, I'm like, that's a little underwhelming. Like, it's not as pigmented as I thought. I think it might be kind of long wearing because I'm trying to blot it and it's like not even that much is showing up on the tissue. I mean, granted, it is a slightly different color. It's not a red. Most of the other lipsticks have been reds. I was so in love with the cream, but the matte, it's lacking some pigment for me. It applied, I think, a little bit, I don't know, it didn't feel like it applied as smoothly as the cream, but I don't know. I'm gonna wear this throughout the day. I'll let you know at the end of the day how it holds up. It's kind of there around the edges, but it faded really quickly. It did not last as long, and it wasn't as pigmented to start with, which, I don't know, was surprising. I thought the matte formula would actually hold up better, but it didn't. I gotta say, I'm not as impressed with the matte formula as I am with the cream. And that was my drugstore lipstick collection. Now for my A-list. I have to say the one that really blew me away the most was the Revlon in the cream formula. I liked the pearl formula too, but I feel like that is a little bit more trendy. Like it goes on trend, it goes out of trend, whereas the cream formulas they're kind of more classic, like they'll always be on trend. I do feel like sort of the pearl metallic-y stuff is coming back. So, I mean, I do want to give this a shout out, but I feel like the cream formula is just kind of like classic everlasting. Revlon is just, I feel like when it comes to drugstore lipsticks, like it's the first one I think of, and it's like a classic for a reason. I forgot how much I love these until I actually did this test and tried them again after not wearing them for so long. The Revlon cream formula, definitely my number one. As far as D-list goes, unfortunately, I kind of feel like I want to put the Revlon matte formula on the D-list because it just kind of disappointed me. I thought that I would just like this as much as I liked the cream formulation, but I just don't. For me, it didn't last as long. I just didn't like it as much. It's not terrible and it's not the worst. I think just my expectations were so high because the cream formulation was like my number one. I also have to say the Maybelline in the Color Sensational, the Vivids formulation, I was not impressed with. That did not last very long. It was very messy. Didn't like that one. I wouldn't necessarily put the regular Color Sensational on like my favorites, but this was a little bit more in the middle of the road. But I definitely did not like the Vivid D-list for me. So if you have a favorite drugstore lipstick or a least favorite, like one that you love or one that you hate, let me know. I love to hear from you. Leave it in the comment section below. If you have any other makeup products that you want me to test out and review for you, leave those in the comment section below too. I always love to hear from you. I love your suggestions. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. A while back, I was suffering from anxiety and depression, and I truly believe that beauty and makeup saved my life, and I believe it can save yours too. So if you want to join my Starlet squad, be sure you hit that subscribe button. You can follow me on all my social media channels. The links will all be in the description box below, along with links to all these lipsticks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.